Meetings being held on the traditional territory of the Quabbin people. May I have approval agenda as presented, moved by Council Tidbury, seconded by Council Smith. All in favor? Carried. We have the minute of the regular council meeting held April 23rd for adoption. Moved by Council Dorwood, seconded by Council Texall. Any errors or omission? All in favor? Carried. We have our business arising, our council action item report of April 23rd, 2024 information. Councilor Tidbury?
Oh, nothing. I just picked it
Okay,
up.
I'll get you the next time. Any comments or questions? We have no new business. We have correspondence. We have from the North Island Loggers Golf Committee regarding the 2024 Loggers Golf Tournament, and they have a request for support. So last year, I know we supported them. Would you mind telling us, our Director of Finance, how the
Yes.
support went forward?
Thank you. Yeah, last year was $250 that was approved, and we used Harbor certificates. So the total came out to about $233. So it was passes to the Harbor and boat launching and parking passes.
And we have enough in the grant and aid?
Yes,
Mhm.
we budgeted for that amount. too.
Oh, we did, but
Yeah.
because I did mention to one of the committee members that this should come forward to the grant and aid before the end of September. That particular committee member wasn't very receptive to me, but that could be a personal relationship. But I will remind them next year. And yet,
I'll make motion to do the same as last year.
okay, moved by Council Dorwood, second by Council Texmal, all in favor? Carried. We have from Nikki Range, the Executive Director, North Island Crisis and Counseling Center Society, a donation request for recreation passes. So again, I address their
Same question.
finances.
Yes.
We didn't have it in last year, and they asked in their letter about punch cards or something for like swims and stuff. So I thought that Naomi could probably answer, because they don't use the punch cards anymore. They have the wallets, or maybe some kind of certificate or something would work.
Yeah, so if we have an organization that wants to do punch cards kind of thing, we're moving to an online wallet. So all they would do is register with us, give whatever, or no, if we're donating, we would just take it off of there.
And Council Dorwood?
And what's the value of
Mhm.
50 passes, and do we have that room in our grant and aid budget?
Well, the nice piece, because I did read the agenda, is if it's for swimming or something, like, it doesn't really cost us, like, it's a public thing. So I think we have it in the budget because it wouldn't really cost us anything, because we would be open regardless. So I do think it's an easy thing, personally, to agree to, because it's not, we're not physically really giving anything, because we would be open.
Yeah,
Okay.
so just to comment to that, what she's referring to is the public swims are all gonna be free anyway, so they're already comped at this point in time, so what we would be comping is like anything like aquafit or length swims. And then in which case we would just load whatever that cost would be out of the grant and aid budget into the wallet. So if we're looking at 50 times roughly $5.50, right? So $250, right?
Mhm.
Moved by Councilor Robertson,
Okay.
seconded by Councilor Dorwood. Any other comments? Carried.
Did you say
Oh,
250?
sorry,
Yes, 250.
250
Mhm.
from grant and aid.
Mhm.
Well, I thought I was going on 50 passes.
You are
275 then.
275, yeah, so it goes up a little bit.
'Cause they said-
I was
275.
I was trusting other people's rough math.
275.
Trust the finance firm.
Okay, thanks. We have from Lee Deans and Mike McCauley, Port Harvey Slow Pitch regarding a request to council for naming of Stories Beach Ball Field for discussion. And thank you, Mike and Lee for bringing this forward. And so I did want to mention that I'm going to recommend that we refer it to staff. Mainly because we've had another request about naming a ball field out there.
Mhm.
And so we want to make sure that everything's done fairly and that everybody's named that needs to be named. And so staff will have a look at our policy. And not that we're against it, because we so recognize the service that David has done for our community. But the person that was also the family that requested a ball field be named has done an amazing amount of service as well over the years. So we've just kind of been holding on to it. So if you're okay, we will refer it to staff and I know that you've asked the Quiga to have it
Mhm.
named as well, so it would be good to have their input too on both of the naming of the fields.
I think our request was more of the whole. And like each individual field could have someone. Like, it was like the vicinity more than each individual field, and that would leave fields up for.
And then like kind of having a sign prior to entering the field saying, welcome
Yeah.
to Dave Dean's Fields, and then this is honorary field, this is honorary field, that's honorary field.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Councillor Robertson.
Yeah, no, thank you very much for the suggestion for the letter. And I just, I knew your dad for a very long time and his contribution. Good.
1.5 years.
Yeah, so, yeah, and it's nice to see this come through. I tend to agree with that. Just the other thing is, and I stand to be corrected in this, but it's kind of to have there is a policy we have about naming things, I think.
No, we don't, well, we have one for like memorial benches.
Oh,
for
okay, maybe
street
that's
naming
what-
and things, and Mayor Prokovatis reminded me that we also had discussions about Mr. About a policy with regards to the last request that we received.
Yeah, so, yeah, I just think to get a broader picture, refer it to staff and just get a report and have the discussion at that point. When we have all of the information that we need to have at our fingertips. Which doesn't mean it's not gonna happen, just means it's might be slower than.
Yeah, they're politically will be there. But thank you for bringing it up.
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, I just wanted to be clear that like we're grateful for your time. Our intent was to keep it really simple, just a recognition sign as you come into the ball areas Brian mentioned. And then that allows for that delegation of other fields to come forward for other people. And I think that's something that's, isn't a big deal. We're willing to search out funds for the sign, do it ourselves. And when we wrote the letter, we did very clearly say we're willing to work with the district on any policy or
Mhm.
constraints. And we did
Yeah.
have some good, support from Heather on that beforehand. So we're happy
Yeah.
to do that. And we have no indication at this point that Quaggy Council is going to do anything but support this. In fact, we may work with them on the sign a little bit.
Which would be really
Yeah.
We do have
impressive.
one counselor there advocating for us. Our intent, I think, Lee, is when we have our tournament this year, our annual Father's Day Ball tournament, this will be in honor of David. And so I know time is of the essence on this one, so I would encourage you to just think about that. We'd love to have a, ceremony, invite some of you to come at that time if this does go through. So that's kind of our timeline and what we're looking at.
Okay,
Good to have it.
It will be a bigger than normal tournament. We have a lot of smart people coming to honor you.
Oh, cool.
that's very cool. Okay, so that gives us a really tight timeline.
When is the timeline for Father's Day again? What is
That's
it?
June 14th weekend, isn't it?
Correct.
June 14th.
We can get some.
Okay.
Yeah, and just thank you for taking time. to do these meetings.
Oh, thank you for the
Yeah,
letter.
The letter was great.
The letter was great.
Excellent.
Thank you very much. And yes, thank you.
Do we have a motion to refer?
No, it was just really good for me.
A motion to refer, just Councillor Tipperary, seconded by Councillor Robertson.
Mhm.
All in favor?
Mhm.
Okay,
Thanks. Folks.
thank you. So we have from Patrick Donahue, Operations Manager, Regional District of Mount Washington, a request for council appointment to Public Technical Advisory Committee. So, with approval from council, I would like, Councilor Tidbury to be, appointed to this committee.
Second.
Unanimous.
You couldn't get a vote fast enough, could you? So dumping
Did you
around.
recognize the
Yeah,
names? Councilor Dorwood,
Sounds
seconded
like
by
very good
Councilor
to me.
Texel.
Thank you very much.
All in favor?
Thank you, John.
Thank you,
You
Sean.
did a great job the first round, so.
We have from Lindsay Patsy, Program Officer, Local Government Program Services, Union of BC Municipality, regarding our C2C program for 2024-2025, and the approval agreement for information. So thank you, CAO Nelson Smith, for
Getting that done.
that was very quick turnaround time.
Yep.
We have the minutes of the Committee of the Whole meeting held April 23rd, 2024 for information. Any comments? We have the minutes of our Committee of the Whole meeting held April 25th, 2024 for information. We have our Finance Department, April 2024 check and EFT listing report for information. Any comments, questions? We have from our CAO Nelson Smith about metal storage containers, and she has staff report. Would you like to speak to it, please?
Sure. Does anybody have any questions so far?
Kind of
So,
makes sense.
as we know, so just at the very beginning of the report, I'll just highlight, we just recently did a temporary use permit for CCANs out at Fairfield Highway and Jensen Cove Road primarily. And so this has been something that's been coming up quite regularly. We get people who move to town who bring a CCAN with all of their belongings in it. They only want to have it there temporarily. We have people who want to have metal storage containers in order to store their items on their property because they're cheap. They're mostly most within the district currently right now, they are not permitted in any zone to be used as an accessory structure on any parcel unless otherwise defined in the bylaw, which they are not defined in any other zone in the bylaw to be able to be used. But we do know that they are around the community, and in 2013, when they made the change to the zoning regulation, those that were in existence technically are grandfathered, and anything after that would have required a permit to go forward. So one of the things that we've done a bit of research on is just trying to look at what the implications would be in certain zones in order to permit metal storage containers. Residential being one of the ones that would be the most problematic, just due to site and usually the general disinterest in having them within a neighborhood setting. And sometimes they get spray painted, or they're just kind of ugly in some cases. Sometimes they're beautiful and they get turned into wonderful homes. So one of the things, just addressing the residential portion, is that what I've proposed, if council was wanting staff to go forward with this, is that it would be for temporary metal storage containers in the residential. So those that are doing construction services up to a maximum period, which could align with our building permit regulation, where we allow people to live in an RV while they have an active and open permit in a residential zone. And then it would also allow for those people that are moving into town that, maybe store everything in a storage container and then just move the storage container onto site, and then allows them to be able to unload. And then giving them a set amount of time on approval, and then to allow metal storage containers in zones that are zoned for commercial purposes and industrial and marine industrial purposes, with some provisions, including citing ensuring that there's no issues with sight lines, and putting in some regulatory safety compliance, ensuring that we have some form of limits with regards to where. So if you're in a C1 property, which is typically downtown core, you'd be permitted 1. In a C2 property, you'd be permitted up to 2. And then as per the maximum lot coverage for any of the bigger zones, so your marine industrial and your industrial sites. So that would be subject to whatever the siting requirements are.
Mhm.
And of course, then just in terms of clear definition and making sure that it's understood what a metal storage container is, CCAN, et cetera, and what that premise is. Now, when people do put a metal storage container on a property, it is subject to the BC Building Code regulations. So while it is usually bought and then placed on a piece of property, the piece of ground that it is put on does have to have an engineered slab in order to ensure that what the use is being used. So if it was being used in an industrial purpose for, let's say, just storage of things, and people weren't going to inhabit it like an office, it has a different requirement that the BC Building Code requires in order for it to be passed as a permittable item within the district of Port Hardy. And of course, we can manage that through engineering and through the building permit process. So just in terms of going forward, I'm just looking to staff or looking to council, sorry, to provide staff with some direction as to whether or not you want us to pursue making any changes to zoning regulation, whether you would like us to not do anything, do something, or do something different.
Okay.
I would like staff to look into changes to the bylaw.
Second the recommendation. No, option one.
Option one, okay, I was looking for option one. I know it was here
Right
somewhere.
above option 2 and 3.
So we have a motion on the floor that approve the recommendation that the council provide direction to staff to amend the zoning bylaw 1010/2013 to include metal storage containers in commercial industrial zone and temporary use in residential zone. Any other comments? Council Smith?
Do we have time to do that, or do we have other priorities? Like, could it kind of slip in nicely, or it doesn't seem like it's like a major priority?
It's not, but it is something that regularly comes up
I was wondering.
on a regular basis. So one of the things that we will be looking to as well as making some other zoning changes potentially with some definitions, as well as, anything to do with the housing. And so what we'll do is we'll just prepare all of this information. What I would want to ensure is that we don't muddle it down too much. So when you do the public hearing and we do the public notification, we do want to make sure that it is clear that there will be a public opportunity to be able to speak to it. So you don't want to hide it in amongst too many things. So it would be better for us to kind of get it over and done within the next few months in order to be able to give those permits going forward. So we don't require people to do a temporary use permit every time you want to comply with our regulations.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Any other comments, questions? All in favor? Any opposed? Carried. We have no current bylaws, or resolutions. We have a pending bylaw number 1164-2023 amendment to zoning bylaw 1010/2015. And council reports. Councilor Smith.
They scored. I don't have too much to report. I was away sick, and last week I had to let my dog go after 16 and a half years, so I'm not myself. But on May 14th, had the Port Hardy Heritage meeting. Things are going well. There's a meeting tomorrow, so as we approach summer in the visitor center, they're getting everything in line. They have the email and phones, thanks to help from the district. And so yeah, looking forward to a good year there. And on May 9th, had the special council meeting, and that's about all I need to report.
Councilor Tipperary.
I got very little actually for a change. Filmy Days meeting, everything seems to be going along just fine. We've established where the beer garden's going to be now, so that was a big decision.
Well, that was quite a discussion. Huh?
Quite a discussion on that, baby. It's not where you wanted it. Okay. I overlooked the elections out at Fort Rupert. And there's 3 new councillors in there now. And the other thing is we had a great discussion on regional tourism and how it's coming along. And we had quite a number of guest speakers that was just really good. tourism is going in the right direction. It's going up. Our 2% and or 3%, depends how you want to talk about it, is increasing greatly right now. And that's about me.
Counselor Texwell.
Pretty much all I have is officers meeting that I attended at the fire department. And that's really it, unless that BHP luncheon was in the same time frame.
Yeah, it was.
So it's nice to meet with them and go through everything with them, and it sounds like everyone's gonna be doing a site tour, which is gonna be fun.
Cool.
And that's it for me.
Thank you.
Go Canucks, go. They're down
I
to
went
nothing.
through it, it's freaking fun.
Go Jets, go.
Yeah.
Counselor Dugas.
Just like, rushing through this here, science fair. You had a science fair, and I was involved with that. That was really cool. They had some really great. The part we were on was sort of like, was a little bit different. It was sort of like they did a study on a particular topic, and one was on horses, and one was on ravens, and one was on crows and how they speak and how they convert and they communicate. It was pretty interesting. Very, very well done. It was lots of fun. The other thing was obviously a BHP lunch, which was great. I was able to go to the Murdered and Missing Indigenous Women, Girls, and Two Spirits event that they had out at Fort Rupert, and it was very well attended. It was a great group, and the weather was beautiful because we did a walk around in the village. And it was very well attended, and lots of people were there. Obviously, every time you have a meeting like that or a celebration, I would tell celebration, but a gathering is there's a lot of sadness because there's a lot of people locally that have been impacted by that. So but it was very well attended, and it was a great thing to be at. Had an opportunity to go to the gas station, and I know that Fred was there as well for the Quatsino gas station groundbreaking ceremony, which was really cool. There a lot of things happening out there at the Quatsino Nation, and I think it's really exciting. Also, along with that, got to go to the Quatsino restaurant grand opening on the weekend. That was really great. Really, really nice restaurant they got built there. It's really, really awesome. Port Hardy Hospital Auxiliary, they did their raffle on the weekend. Drew through the 3 names for the winners, and one of them actually, the drone ended up going up to Fort McMurray or Fort St. John or something like that. So it has to get shipped over there. But anyways, it was great turnout. A couple of Vintas meetings we've been having, talking about the fall ECDev forum that we're going to be doing in November, and a strategic planning, obviously. And I was involved with the spring cleanup, along with going down there in State Creek Park, I guess, cleaning up. And actually, it was kudos to our public works operational group guys, because they keep it pretty clean down there now. So I didn't get to pick up a lot of garbage. So it was pretty quick. It was really good. Yeah, it's really clean down there. It's really awesome. So thank you to Public Works for that. Yeah, good job. Okay, that's all. Got a hockey game to go to. Let's go.
Oh, yeah, sure now.
Yeah, well, several of us were at the committee of the whole meeting with the BHP. The notes are in the minutes are in there, but I just want to commend them. They've been shut down for a number of years. They still are actively doing stuff there. They have an employee here as well as contractors, so, and they still support our community, so.
Yeah.
They still push that they had donated to our community.
But the pool, they donated.
Couple million.
350,000
For the auxiliary too.
Yeah,
And the
yeah,
roof, yeah.
yeah, the roof, they support a lot of stuff.
They do a lot here.
Yeah,
And I want to say it was over $1 million worth.
Oh,
what they-
altogether.
What altogether, what they've been putting in the community, and it's
Crazy.
substantial, yeah.
So it's nice to have a company with such respect for our community. So.
Yeah.
And other than that, I attended the Emergency Services Day.
Oh, look at
I
that. Forgetting all
saw
that.
Jason down there and John and the utilities supervisor. His name is Joe, who I see almost every morning. But yeah, and then the other emergency services down there, so it's good. Promoting water conservation.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's it for me.
Councilor Robertson.
Yeah, I was fortunate to go to the BHP luncheon with, I guess it was committee of the whole. And it was interesting, and I agree, they do what they're have to do, and unfortunately, it stands out because so many mines in our country and province are left to just disintegrate and destroy the environment, and they don't do that, so good for them. And we don't have to go far in the North Island to see corporate entities that have left things. Anyway, I was also at the Vancouver Island Regional Library Executive Committee meeting on last Friday, whereupon I missed both the cleanup and the special council meeting. But with respect to the special council meeting, it was also for the library board, the first meeting of the Finance and Audit Committee, which is comes from some of the challenges they've been facing, which we see show up in the levies, the increased levies. So stay tuned, more information there. I was also at the a groundbreaking ceremony for the on the Quatsino gas station, which is interesting. I agree with Dennis. There's lots of things going on out there, and seeing levels of government working together for the betterment of people in the community is actually really encouraging to see. So that is something that you can see. And I didn't see Dennis there. I guess I came a little later, but for the restaurant grand opening too, it was great. And I had lunch there, and it was great. I loved it. And the only other things I thought I would mention is that coming up before the next council meeting, there's a BC Ferry planning session. I don't know if you're going to it or not. Yeah. And a North Vancouver Island Marine Planning Advisory Committee. So if people wanted to get any licks in anywhere along the way with those, those are coming up, and I'll be attending those as well. So anyway, that's me. Go Jets, go.
Next year, Fred.
Yeah.
So, I went to the BHP meeting, which, as everybody reiterated, was excellent. The pitch-in. Kudos to Courtney and team and Jason. Thank you for all their work in organizing and getting it done, but also to the Wagless School, the Ikiniki School, to the Eagle View School, to the high school.
Oh, wow, you had a bunch of kids.
Avalon School, I know
Avalon.
there's one I was missing that showed up, and all these kids
Pretty cool.
picking up the garbage and helping out, and it was great. And thank you to our deputy corporate officer and her team making things work. So thank you very much. It was great, and such a nice day. And last year I pushed a cart with a broken arm. This year, even if I didn't need a cart, because as Councillor Dugas said, there wasn't that much garbage, but apparently the kids at the high school picked up a lot, and there was a number of bags picked up on Trustee Road, which is too bad, but it was great. I was at the grand opening of the Holawas restaurant at Quatsino, and that was quite well attended, and talked to a number of their directors on their board, on their economic development board, and they were very excited. And then talking to Chief Nelson about how they hope as time goes on to be doing direct sales of fresh seafood and working with surrounding neighbors and to have seafood, and they're gonna have specials every month, and yeah, it's very promising for those of us that lived in Coal Harbor in the 70s and 80s. It reminds me of when the restaurant was there then, when they would have specials and you had to make reservations and go out there and eat. And it was very, very neat. And when I was out there too, they had their, there was a crew out there filming that does the Ocean Warriors. I don't know if you've seen that series, the Ocean Warriors. And So Quatsino Guardians are one of the segments, and they did so well that they're doing another,
APTN is filming some bunch of things out there.
yeah, that's who it was. And so, very exciting time for the Quatsino.
Yeah.
I've been busy with the Sinala Culturally Supportive Housing Society and getting things up and running, and we're renting a space up at the old mall, and things are coming together. I had my first coffee with the mayor session, and not that there was a lot of people came in, but there was probably 8 people that dropped in, and some stayed for a few hours and some stayed for half an hour, and it was excellent and very nice. And there'll be more coming up, so if people are interested, come along. And the Port Hardy Farmers and Artisan Markets are going to be getting going, and we've got new vendors contacting us all the time, so it's great. And the twinning meeting we had with people going to Nevada
another one
in
of these.
August, and so that's really exciting in 30 years, and
Mhm.
trying to get that organized. But that's it for me. Oh, and I went to Ottawa on for a week. Wasn't long enough.
How is
No.
Justin?
I was just, and I purposely didn't go to the Harlot Buildings. I did go and watch an event there, and Tulip Festival's happening, so I was mainly a tourist, and it was awesome and lovely. Okay, on to information and announcements. So different meetings coming up. I do want to highlight May 16th, the Moose High Day campaign, National Public Works Week, and Missing Children Day that's coming up. So on May 16th, sorry.
Just had one addition to put in there, which was the region-wide power outage. on May
Oh,
26th.
It's on May 26th, that's right, just as a reminder to everybody. All right, we have no notice of in camera, motion to adjourn. Counselor Texmo. Any
Yeah,
questions
I was gonna
from the audience? Oh,
Hi, I have a question to Heather, and then I have a comment to another one. Heather, the C2C program, your grant funding has been approved for. What's the project you're gonna spend this money on?
Oh, the project is to celebrate the relationship agreement between the Quad Youth and the District of Port Hardy Township.
That means who?
The Quad Youth Band,
What is that?
Quad Youth Band, the Port
Okay,
River,
for Rupert, yeah,
and the District of Port Hardy Council.
okay. All right.
We go over mutual agreements of how we can help each other out and things like that. So
Yep, okay. The other one, the comment is to David Dean's to sign up Storrs Beach Park. Been in this committee 28 years. David has done lots for the community, as you're aware.
Mhm.
Helped out with hockey with the kids in the hockey league when we first come here. And the baseball field, I never was involved in that, years ago I was. And I think the district for Hardy should give a donation towards the sign for David Dean's out there at the Storrs Beach Park. I think that'd be really nice of you to do that. Because he was very a community minded person and gave lots, volunteer lots and our municipality for Hardy. So, okay,
thank you, Jen.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. That's it.
Thanks. Any other questions?
No, I'm not gonna be online.
Oh,
That's okay, somebody online is keeping us in check with what the score is.
Oh, what's the score?
I can't tell.
One.
Both be-
0-1.
Some people like to report it.
Yeah. That's not the-
I was gonna
Lee
be
or Mike, do you have any questions?
No, just we're grateful for your time. Thanks much. Appreciate it. It's, you know, we're here. If you have any follow-up questions or anything, please reach out. You know where to get hold of
We know how to get a hold of both of you.
Yeah.
me. I'm also very glad to be here, not talking to you. There's a fire raging over.
I appreciate that too.
Keep it
Little
down.
P for me. I'm really excited.
Keep it
Say the
down.
word.
Sorry.
Yeah, look what's happening up in Fort Nelson.
Oh,
Is this-
terrible.
Burning happening in backyards, so that's not in any.
It does for us already.
Yeah.
So, you know what on mine?
So the fire center has their.
That great fashion.
Louisa?
Any
They just-
questions
they have
from
a-
online?
they-
Follow up with you.
Okay, I'm online tomorrow.
We'll catch you later.
Everybody's leaving, just, I would just start. Score, okay.
Oh, no. Oh, I did not.
Okay, Samira, I will see you. I emailed you